Hey guys, just want to give you some info here to potentially save you a lot of time and frustration if you're trying to diagnose a problem with your gas oven that's using these kinds of parts, I'll show you in a second, that's not holding temp. This threw me, and I finally figured out why it threw me after finally figuring out what the problem was. So I put up a video, I don't know, a month or so ago about changing your sensor. And I said, hey, look, even if it's not the sensor, it's super cheap. I think it was like 12 bucks. And I'll put links down to all these parts that I tried in case you need one other than I needed. But that's worth throwing in because it is a very common part to go bad. And it took like a minute to replace. 12 bucks, who cares? That didn't end up fixing it. I thought it did because right away, first time I tested it, I had my barbecue sensor and it matched and everything looked hunky-dory. Well, then the next day I go to use it again and we're right back to the same problem. It'll get to temp and then falls on its face and things aren't cooking. It's actually a lower temp than it says it's at. Okay, so unfortunately, the next thing to try was the control board, the computer inside. Again, very easy to replace. Just took a minute, a couple screws, and it's right in the back there. Unplug it, pop in the new one for like 155 bucks. That's why I didn't want to try that first. But everything online says that's what causes these problems. Boom, put it in, exactly the same thing. Okay, put in the old one, return the control board. I didn't lie. I said it's fine. So I took a little ding on the return, but still, old one had no problem. So I put that right back in. And that's this piece right here. This is just a plastic box on the back, screwed in. This is all one piece. All the buttons and the boards and everything are right here. You just take the panel off the back side with 2 screws and it's right there. So, okay, it's not the sensor and it's not the board. What the heck is going on? What's going on is there's an igniter in here. And I'll show you how this works. Down in the oven, I'm going to take this out and show you. Pull out the racks. This bottom piece here just lifts out. Now this is my oven here. Yours may be a little different, but some will pull them from the front, some in the back here. You just lift it up and pull it right out. You got your gas tube. Now yours may be a little different looking, but these are going to operate the same way. The tube in the middle there is just basically a big venturi, like a barbecue. The gas comes out, and that little piece right there is the igniter. And it's basically like an old school light bulb. There's just a big solid filament-like thing. I think it's made out of graphite. That's right in there inside the cage, the black looking rectangle thing. And basically you've got a wire coming in with electricity and a wire coming out with electricity, and those are going to the control board. So when you go to use it, you turn the oven on, you set it to a temp, say 400. The control board reads the resistance from the sensor, which is in the corner, right there, a little rod, and it knows what temperature it is. So it knows if it should be turning the oven on or not. If it's at the temperature you set it to, it turns itself off. If not, it says, hey, igniter, turn on. Igniter will start to glow, and then once it glows hot enough, the control board says, okay, gas, turn on, and it turns on a little valve. Gas starts flowing, it goes right next to it, poof, it ignites, heats up the temp. When it gets to the proper temp, whatever you set it to, it says, okay, gas, shut off, igniter, shut off. And then, as things start to cool, 395, 390, it'll say, okay, we're getting cool, turn back on. Tells the igniter, turn back on, starts to glow again. Once it gets hot enough, it sends a signal, it says, hey, okay, turn the gas back on, poof, and it comes back up to 400, and that's how the oven works. Problem is, it was not turning back on. Once it got hot, the igniter was failing at higher temperatures. So at room temperature, this was functioning fine, but at 400 degrees, it wasn't. So it wasn't sending the signal out, and therefore it never turned the gas back on. So the thing got to 400 and would just slowly cool down to 150, 125 or whatever, until it cooled off enough and it would start working again. So instead of going between 390 and 400, it was going between 100 and 400, obviously not cooking food. Well, here's the crux of why I misdiagnosed it twice and did the sensor and control board, because this oven does not show you the current temperature. It only shows you the set temperature. So I set it to 400. Even if the thing was cooled down to 250 degrees, it was still showing 400. Other ovens I've used show you the current temp, or they're at least selectable. If you want to see what the current temp is while it's actually running, you have to manually turn your temperature up or down, and it'll momentarily show you what it's actually at, and then flips back to the set temp. I never noticed because I never needed to notice. I thought it was showing me actual temp, not set temp. So just bear that in mind. If you've got a non-heating problem, check that out. And if you're actually having this scenario, that is the likely culprit. And that's only a $30 part. And yes, I should probably clean the oven. Oh well. Hope it helps. See you next time.